So in a recent stream I did, I actually asked Archmage to have a discussion about PvE, and well, he actually accepted, and we do talk about some crazy stuff for the future deep. You're not going to want to miss it, so stay tuned.
Let me ask Archmage though. Yo, Art, would you ever still be down to hop on the stream? Come on, Art, please! Bro, how much have I asked Art to BC? Like a 2-minute discussion. Tuned in? Alright, Archmage. I think at the moment, while I don't mind the fact that people can get good loot now, that's great. I think the loot efficiency is placed in the wrong areas of the game. At the moment, literally like 20 minutes ago, I showcased the average ferryman farmer.
And then I'm gonna give it a second, just hop off for a bit, and then see if the thing fixes.
Just sitting there, silent, probably watching anime or a YouTube video on the side. Not really engaging with the game. I think it's fine that there's loot that comes from that, but it is the most efficient loot at the moment. Ferryman farm is insane. My opinion, some of that should be switched over to actual areas of increased player interaction and intensity / risk potential. In my opinion, we should have the ferryman relic loot be switched over to the Primadon small chests. That way, at least whenever you're getting that good relic chances, there's a chance for people to, when they see that, oh wait, they made Primadon give ferryman relics, yo, now they have a reason. Everyone's gonna migrate from ferryman to Primadon because they want that consistent loot again, which will invite gankers once again, and it'll introduce player interactivity. Okay, I'm listening now. I missed everything you said in the last 2 minutes. Chances or his efficiency at dropping those relics should be moved over to Primadon. Makes way more sense. Ferryman, the sad thing is, these bosses, you farm them alone too. It's not even like, okay, at least I'm farming it with my friends. No, it's people farming alone. So not only are you not even seeing other players who attack you, you're not even playing with your friends. It's sad. I think it's honestly just sad. But at least with Primadon, even though people are like, oh, Primadon's easy, but at least there's that inherent risk that if he had good loot, it would draw way more attention. I think, unfortunately, Ferryman would have to get his relic, basically chances, switched over to Maestro level. Because guess what? People farm Maestro, but he isn't the go-to for relics. He's the go-to for his specific loot. Ferryman, in my opinion, he could probably get at least one specific relic in there, right? But I think the rest of his relic chances per run need to be something on Maestro level or even a little bit less. He's the easiest boss to farm. Even when you die, you do get Sense of Depths, but realistically, no one's dying to Ferryman. You can set a campfire in the middle of the boss fight. At the moment, Ferryman is just way too easy for his efficiency, and I think that should be stolen from him, move over to Primadon. Ferryman becomes basically another Maestro in terms of loot, maybe give him something specific. And then I think the biggest thing is giving Helmut and Diluvian the best loot efficiency at the moment. It's kind of sad that, yes, you can farm Diluvian, right? You can farm Diluvian, but really the optimal method is farming Diluvian solo, which wasn't even, it was supposed to be a group thing. Thinking about it like this, it's far better for 5 people to farm Ferryman solo individually than for 5 people to attempt the hardest event in the game. Even though the bottom one should be way more rewarding. It's like, what? Like the 5 people they're not even farming together. They're farming alone. At least with Diluvian, even though it's instance, right? You're doing it with your friends and there's that big risk. But why even do that besides maybe just get your belt? There's other reasons people do Diluvian, like getting bell for a freshie instead of actually attempting the most risky PvE event in the game. Helmut, I think, should actually be number 1 because you can wipe to other players. I think that's worse off in my opinion, because Helmut is like, it has so much potential for you to just get ganked out of nowhere, especially if they buffed if there was buffed Helmut chances to get specific relics. In my opinion, that's really off to say. I just think the rest of the bosses, I think Duke, Maestro, Chaser, and Layer 2, I think all that's fine because they have their own specific uses, right? But I think Ferryman is the big outlier between the rest of the instant servers. You have the rest that are like, okay, people don't go to farm those for relics, right? But then you have the one super god tier relic farmer, and it's like, dude, it just throws the rest of the game out of whack, especially the more risky areas. Even if it's not moved to Primadon, at the bare minimum, this should be beating this guy, especially when you have people wiping their builds. Problem is, we want to reward crazy solo gameplay, but we also want to discourage group play by doing reward crazy solo gameplay. I think the thing is, right, is like, I think it's not a terrible thing for solo gameplay to be rewarded, right? But in my opinion, crazy solo gameplay is not ferryman farming. I think you can ask most people, Ferryman would be considered the easiest bosses among most people. Sure, you can get a damage buff or something like that, or get some new moves or something like that, but I think he's probably the most brain dead boss out of every one of them. Maestro at least has the minions and the shield. Chaser, yeah, you can one cycle him, which is true, but you have to get through all of layer 2 first, right? Even Maestro, right? When he had the AFK farm, but that got patched. Crazy example of like rewarding solo gameplay would be a buff to actually Diluvian. I think, in my opinion, there are people who are, I know the original intent wasn't for people to solo that, which I understand. There was supposed to be the solo version, but people can solo that. I think that should be where like you get 20 to 25 relics to yourself if you beat that solo. I think at the moment you can get 20 to 25 solo in like 40 to an hour just doing this guy while watching anime on the left side of your screen. Now, I know there's always going to be cheese like that, but in my opinion, I think the order should go something like kind of from Hell mode, then Diluvian, or they could be equal, then down to Primadon, and then it can go to instant stuff, right? Less Souls RNG like, as crazy as that sounds, that you have super interactive gameplay, and on the other spectrum you have Souls RNG. One is AFK, one is playing the game. Ferryman is like here, you know, like Ferryman's like here, you know what I'm saying, right? Like you're not AFK, but you can turn your brain off.
No point.
Like these Primadon chests, right? These ones right here. These right here, like these should be like half of one Ferryman chest in terms of the relic chances. But at the moment, bro, like five Ferryman chests gives you mad good chances. As long as another boss inherits the Ferryman loot factor or loot chances, I think it will be passable. And as long as Ferryman eventually gets maybe one or two more in the future, stuff that you can farm him specifically for, like Maestro. That's why I think Maestro, people still do Maestro to get Purple Cloud, some of the new weapons, right? Ferryman, if you think about it, right, like besides Storm's Eye, what has been put in Ferryman? There's no reason to, because, oh, well, everyone knows it's the relic farm, when I don't think it should. You know what I mean? I think it's about time that Ferryman finally is more like a Maestro instead of being the number one. Solo Diluvian can have its own special relic rate. Yeah, if you like Solo Diluvian, maybe they can do something even crazier there. And I know the solo player, you know what I'm saying, people will be like, oh, like Helmut and Diluvian, you have to do that with friends. But I don't know, man. I just think the solo play is just way too strong, and even then, like doing stuff with your friends at the moment is just not as efficient as doing everything solo. And that's the numbers. But would you actually really like nerf Ferryman's like relic chances? Because like I know that's like tough because it's unpopular and some people might complain about it. Even though Primadon would be getting that, like even though someone would gain that chance, you're saying Ferryman legendary rates up or legendary weapons up, which would in turn make the relic chances go down. Numbers really be affected that much? Like, would it actually be enough for people to be like, oh, Ferryman isn't the best anymore? That if it's only by like unnoticeable amount, I feel like people will regardless still just stick to farming him all day instead of doing other bosses for. I think as long as it's enough to where people notice that Primadon is like the superior choice, at least for relics compared to Ferryman, then I think that'd be enough. But I don't know, if I just feel like it's just because he's too good. It's way too efficient. That's really it.